everyone. My name is Sanjana. I'm J&J's Fireside Chat Coordinator, and I'm here with David for another Fireside Chat. David, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Please tell us about your educational and professional backgrounds and the path that you took to get to where you are today.
I have a degree in history from the University of Wisconsin and a master's in public administration from the American University with a concentration in finance and management. After I finished graduate school, I had several offers to work for the United States government. However, Ronald Reagan became president and put a freeze on all federal non-essential federal hiring. So I was essentially shut out. It took me a little while to figure out what was next. I landed a job at a large community bank in Northern Virginia and spent the rest of my life working on the commercial side of a bank. I started out as a credit analyst, became a senior credit analyst, and then was promoted to the lending platform. The lending platform is the area where you actually go out and you solicit business, you talk to potential customers, you try and convince customers why they should do business with your institution. And that's the easy part. The hard part is getting the deal done within the bank. You have to write the story about why we should do business with this customer. And there are three important things to remember when you do business with a customer: their capacity to handle their debt, their character, whether or not they're straight people, if there's no skeletons in the closet. And the last thing I can't unfortunately remember off the top of my head. And then you have to sell it to the people who are responsible for the bank's money. You have to make a presentation. It's not just banking is not just making customers happy and then going and playing golf on Wednesday afternoons. Banking takes an awful lot. I was able to take my skills and move up in the world as what they call a credit officer. I was one of the people who approved loans. I had about $2.5 million worth of credit approval. If you wanted to give a customer a line of credit, a loan, or a different type of loans, and it had to go before me, and I had to sniff out what was there to make sure it made sense. And if there were any questions about the story that they were writing, and then if I approved it, it went for a final approval by the bank's credit committee. Along the way, after I left that job, I worked for a very small minority-owned bank in Newark, New Jersey, that had regulatory problems. And I was brought in to help clean up their loan portfolio. And after that, the FDIC asked me to stay on and manage their loan portfolio and train the credit analyst. One of the credit analysts, while she was good at what she did, she didn't know how to talk to people. She could write, but she couldn't talk. And a large part of getting a deal done is after you've written it up, is being able to convince the credit committee why the bank should do the loan. And after that, I went back to working did work for the Bank of America in Florida, worked for TD, both among the largest banks in the United States. And my last gig was looking at PPP loans for the SBA, looking at applications and approving those applications. And then at the end of my gig, I was looking at pleas for relief, and not to, well, the goal of the SBA was not to have those people pay back the loans, but there were some people who were, how you say, they didn't play a straight game. And it was my job to sniff it out, and where I didn't think they should get a free ride, I let my bosses know, and the SBA had to make a decision whether or not to forgive the loan or ask them for repayment. And after approximately 4 years of working in finance, I decided I had enough and I wanted to retire. Anybody who says, even if you love your job, finance comes with stress, because it's one thing to give the money out, it's another thing to give it back. The other issue is that with banks, a lot of times customers are looking for a deal, and their attitudes are, even though you've helped them out, you've helped their family out, you should be happy that I'm doing business with you. And when you get a response like that, you have to think on your feet is, how am I going to do this deal, ensure that the bank's going to get its money out back and not have to go to court and sue them for the money. It's not fun having to go to be deposed and then being called on to testify in a court case, because it's not all about love at that point.
Wow, that was really interesting. And especially as a finance major myself, it was cool to hear about your career path. So thank you for sharing.
I sort of fell into it, but I liked what I did. I was fortunate enough for the first institution I worked for. It was a very collegial place in which to work. Everybody knew their jobs, and everybody chipped in order to get the job done. And then it was bought by a private equity firm, and I don't have to tell you the rest.
All right. So my next question is, what is the best piece of financial advice you've received?
Never assume that a deal is going to get done. There always has to be a plan B and a plan C. Even if it's not on a piece of paper, it's got to be, you always got to be have in the back of your head that a what if one thing doesn't happen, how are you going to move forward or at least make sure you can back out with your shirt on and a smile on your face. The other thing is, which is a very important piece if you're doing business with somebody, a quick no is better than a long drawn out one. Because that way you make friends, you don't make enemies.
Yeah, that's actually such great advice for life too. I was thinking about it and I was like, wow, that applies to finance, of course, but definitely
You
for
know,
life too.
a lot of times people, they're surprised when they get a quick no. They thought that it's gonna be and a quick no, and if you can explain the reasons why, you leave the door open for future opportunities.
Absolutely, I agree. So my last question for you is, what should young people know about financial planning?
Start early and be consistent. Don't say, oh, I'm too busy watching TikTok or moving around on YouTube. There's more to life than that. And in financial planning, personally, if you think you're gonna get a TikTok that goes viral or become an influencer, it doesn't work for 99% of us, all right? It's been proven. Financial planning takes thought. You have to, it's one thing to think, but it's actually another thing to pull the trigger. Anybody can pull the trigger, but if you don't put any planning into the pulling the trigger, you're going to regret it sooner or later. And the other thing is, I don't care what anybody says your age. If you think you're going to make $1 zillion off of buying a meme stock, or jumping into Bitcoins, just remember that Bitcoins are not backed by the full faith of the United States. So if a Bitcoin you buy and they go south, you ain't going to get your money back.
Absolutely, yeah. The references you made are definitely very parallel to what goes on right now.
I have a daughter who's about your age, 30. She's 30, and while she earns a good living, she knows from discussions that buying into Bitcoin is speculative, strictly speculative, and sooner or later, since man has been on this earth, the circle comes full sooner or later when it comes to money. If you understand what I mean. You know, I'm invested, but again, I am well aware that my investments can go south, or I'm gonna get a hit, and that's one reason why, while my wife and I live comfortably, we don't live large, because you never know when people are going to get excited and things are going to get tough.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was such a great session.
You're welcome. I hope this was helpful.
Yes, it definitely was. Thank you again.
Okay. And again, if you think of any other opportunities, I'll be certainly interested in helping out.